I experienced this when I was 10 years old a long time ago. My family and I were visiting our first cousins in Minnesota during the July 4th tournament. It was the first time seeing them in a long time. They fled from Laos along with my parents when I was still a little toddler. My aunt and uncle had a son that lives there and was around my age. We got along well together, joked around, and played video games. Then on the third night, we were playing a game of truth and dare with my younger sister and his older brother and sisters. They were 2 to 3 years older. I was up and picked dare. My cousin dared me to go into the basement with the lights off. They say they sometimes see a Hmong lady in red down there, and she comes up some nights. I was young and was already scared and refused to go down to the basement alone. Later that night, while everyone was asleep, besides my aunt and uncle because they were still up doing opium, I slept on the living room floor with two of my other cousins while my sister slept on the couch. My parents were sleeping in one of the rooms upstairs. I just couldn't sleep because of the smell from the opium. All of a sudden, I noticed the doorknob on the basement door rattle, like someone was trying to turn it. With just the moonlight shining into the living room, I could clearly see the doorknob slowly turn. The basement door squeaked as it slowly opened. That's when I thought about what my cousin said about the Hmong lady in red. That's when I saw her stepping out around the door. She looked like a young woman in Hmong clothes, maybe in her 20s, and she was glowing transparent red. She walked by the couch where my sister and girl cousin were sleeping, just looking at them. Then the lady in red noticed me. I was frozen in fear. I didn't know if it was real or if it was just a dream. The lady saw me looking at her and started walking towards me as she came around the corner of the couch. I didn't see her feet. It was as if she was floating. Now she was 5 feet away from me, getting closer and closer. I was frozen in fear. I couldn't yell for help, and I couldn't move. As the lady in red was about 2 feet away from me, my mom turns on the light, and the Hmong lady in red just vanishes into thin air, like a magic trick. She was gone. No sight of her anywhere. But before she vanished, I saw her face as she turned her head around and back, before my mom turned on the lights. She had this sad yet angry look on her face, before she vanished. My mom came downstairs to talk to my aunt and uncle before we left in the morning. The next morning, I told my aunt and uncle and my parents about it. You know how adults usually tell kids. It was just a dream, or we were just imagining things. But inside, they know what we saw. I am in my mid-20s now, and I can still clearly remember how she looked like.